All right, let's go. Number 10. Billions of years ago, the universe was supposed to be a dark and simple place, a newborn cosmos filled with endless emptiness, where the first stars had not yet appeared and galaxies were only beginning to form. But when James Webb looked deeper into the universe than any telescope before it, scientists discovered something that challenged everything they thought they knew. They found galaxies that appeared far too advanced for the time they existed. These were not small collections of newborn stars. They were enormous cosmic structures filled with light, appearing when the universe was still in its earliest stages. They looked like galaxies that should have required billions of years to develop, yet they were already there when the universe was still incredibly young. For decades, scientists believed they understood the process of galaxy formation. After the Big Bang, the universe entered a long period of darkness. There were no stars shining across space, no massive galaxies stretching through the cosmos, and no complex structures like the ones we see today. Only clouds of simple gas existed. Slowly, gravity began pulling this gas together. The first stars were born. These ancient stars created heavier elements inside their cores, and when they died, they scattered those elements across space. Those materials became the foundation for new stars, planets, and galaxies. Over billions of years, the universe slowly transformed itself. That was the story scientists expected, but James Webb revealed something unexpected. The early universe looked much more mature than it should have been. Scientists expected to find small, unfinished galaxies. They expected to see the first steps of cosmic evolution. Instead, they discovered structures that looked almost complete. It created a mystery. How could the universe build something so advanced before it had enough time to create it? It was like discovering an ancient city standing in a world that had only just begun. The galaxies were real. The light was real. The measurements were real. But the timeline did not make sense. And suddenly, scientists had to question one of the biggest ideas in astronomy. Maybe galaxies did not grow the way we thought. Maybe the early universe was not a slow and peaceful beginning. Maybe it was a place of rapid creation, where enormous structures appeared much faster than anyone expected. And this was only the first mystery James Webb uncovered, because hidden deeper inside these ancient observations were objects even stranger than these impossible galaxies. Tiny red points of light that scientists would later call the little red dots. And those mysterious objects would reveal that the early universe was hiding something much more powerful than anyone imagined.
Number 9. Hidden inside the deepest images of the universe, James Webb discovered tiny red objects that may reveal one of the biggest secrets about how galaxies were created. They became known as the little red dots. At first, scientists did not know what they were looking at. They appeared as small points of red light scattered across the darkness of space. They looked simple, almost invisible, like ordinary distant objects lost among billions of stars and galaxies. But when astronomers studied them carefully, they discovered something unusual. These objects were not ordinary. They were extremely bright. They existed when the universe was still very young, at a time when scientists believed large and powerful structures should have been rare. Yet these tiny red objects were producing enormous amounts of energy. Something inside them was active. Something hidden was creating a signal that traveled across billions of years to reach James Webb. And that created a new mystery. What could make such ancient objects shine so intensely? Scientists began searching for answers, and one possibility became impossible to ignore: black holes. Not the simple idea of a dark object floating silently in space, but enormous cosmic engines feeding on matter and releasing incredible amounts of energy. When gas falls toward a growing black hole, it does not disappear immediately. It begins moving faster and faster, becoming extremely hot and producing powerful radiation that can travel across the universe. A black hole itself may be invisible, but the destruction and energy around it can reveal its existence. And this created a shocking possibility. Some of these ancient red objects may contain rapidly growing black holes that appeared much earlier than scientists expected. But there was a problem. According to previous understanding, these black holes should not have had enough time to become so massive. The universe was too young, the clock was running out. Yet somehow, these invisible giants were already growing. It was like discovering enormous trees in a forest that had only just been planted. Something had accelerated their growth. Something had changed the rules of the early universe. And this discovery forced scientists to look at the beginning of everything in a completely different way. Maybe the first galaxies were not simply built by stars. Maybe invisible forces were shaping them from the beginning. Maybe black holes were not only the final stage of cosmic evolution. Maybe they were part of the process that created galaxies themselves. The little red dots showed scientists that the early universe was not the quiet place they imagined. It was active. It was violent. It was full of hidden events happening faster than anyone predicted. And the deeper James Webb looked, the more obvious one thing became. The universe was hiding a much larger story. A story written in ancient light. A story about the first galaxies, the first black holes, and the mysterious forces that shaped everything we see today. But the little red dots were only the beginning, because beyond these strange objects, James Webb discovered something even more disturbing. Evidence that the universe may have created some of its largest structures before it should have been possible.
Number 8. James Webb discovered galaxies that grew faster than scientists thought the universe could allow. For a long time, astronomers believed that galaxies needed enormous amounts of time to become large and powerful. The universe was like a giant construction project. Small structures appeared first, then they slowly collected more material, creating larger and more complex galaxies. But James Webb revealed a different possibility. Some galaxies in the early universe were already massive when the cosmos was still very young. They contained huge numbers of stars, they showed signs of complex structures, and they appeared at a time when scientists expected only simple cosmic beginnings. This created a serious problem. Because galaxies do not simply appear, they need ingredients, they need gas, they need gravity, they need time. A galaxy is built through countless interactions between stars, clouds of gas, and invisible forces. It is a process that normally takes billions of years. But these ancient galaxies seem to have skipped part of the journey. They looked like they had reached a later stage of development much earlier than expected. The discovery forced scientists to rethink how quickly the universe can create complexity. Maybe the early cosmos was not a quiet place where everything slowly developed. Maybe it was a violent environment where enormous structures formed through powerful events happening at incredible speed. The young universe may have been far more active than we imagined. Imagine looking at a forest and seeing trees that appear hundreds of years old, even though the forest itself had only recently formed. That is the mystery James Webb uncovered. The universe seemed to be creating ancient-looking structures before there was enough time for them to grow. And this raised another important question. What was providing the energy and material needed to build these cosmic giants? Scientists began looking deeper, because galaxies are not only made from stars. Behind every galaxy is a hidden network of forces controlling its growth. Gravity pulls matter together. Dark matter creates invisible structures. And enormous black holes may influence how galaxies evolve. The early universe was not just creating stars, it was creating systems, complex cosmic machines that would eventually become the galaxies surrounding us today. But the more scientists studied these ancient galaxies, the stranger the story became. Because some of the objects responsible for shaping the universe may have appeared even earlier than the galaxies themselves. And that discovery leads to one of the biggest mysteries in modern astronomy. How did the first black holes become so massive so quickly? Number 7. The ancient black holes that appeared before scientists thought they were possible. Black holes are some of the most extreme objects in the universe. They are places where gravity becomes so powerful that even light cannot escape. For a long time, scientists believed these cosmic giants needed enormous amounts of time to grow. A small black hole would slowly consume gas. It would absorb surrounding material. It would merge with other black holes, and over billions of years it could become a supermassive monster sitting at the center of a galaxy. But James Webb discovered something that challenged this idea. Scientists found evidence of extremely massive black holes existing when the universe was still very young. These objects appeared only a few 100 million years after the beginning of the universe, and that created a huge mystery. How could something become so massive so quickly? The universe was still in its early childhood. The first galaxies were just beginning to form, yet somehow, enormous black holes were already there. It was like finding a mountain standing in a landscape that had only just been created. Scientists began exploring different explanations. Maybe the first black holes were born from the deaths of extremely massive stars. Maybe some giant clouds of gas collapsed directly into black holes without creating normal stars first. Or maybe the early universe had conditions that allowed black holes to grow much faster than we previously understood. Whatever the answer is, it changes the way we see cosmic history. because black holes may not have appeared at the end of galaxy formation. They may have been there from the beginning. They may have helped shape the first galaxies. They may have influenced how stars formed and how matter moved across the universe. The idea changes everything. Black holes are not simply cosmic destroyers. They may also be cosmic builders, hidden engines that helped create the universe we see today. And James Webb has revealed that the relationship between galaxies and black holes may have started much earlier than anyone expected. The early universe was not an empty darkness waiting for stars to appear. It was a place filled with powerful forces. Invisible giants were growing, galaxies were forming, and the foundations of the modern universe were being created. But the biggest mystery remains. If black holes were already this powerful so early in cosmic history, what else existed before scientists thought it was possible? Because every time humanity looks deeper into the universe reveals that our timeline was only a small part of the story.
Number 6, the invisible universe that scientists cannot see, but everything depends on. When humans look at the universe, we see stars, planets, galaxies, and enormous clouds of glowing gas. We see the things that produce light. We see the objects that reveal themselves to our telescopes. But the strange truth is that everything we can see may only be a small fraction of what actually exists. Hidden throughout the universe is something invisible, something that does not shine, something that does not reflect light, something that passes through space without being directly detected. Scientists call it dark matter. For decades, astronomers noticed something impossible happening in galaxies. Stars were moving faster than they should. According to the amount of visible matter, galaxies should not have been able to hold themselves together. The gravity from the stars and gas we could see was not strong enough to explain their movement. Something unseen was providing extra gravity. Something massive was surrounding galaxies like an invisible skeleton. That mystery led scientists to one of the biggest discoveries in modern physics. The universe is not made only from what we can see. There is a hidden structure beneath the visible universe, a giant invisible network connecting galaxies across unimaginable distances. Scientists believe dark matter acts like a cosmic foundation. It creates invisible pathways where normal matter gathers. Without it, galaxies may never have formed the way we see them today. The stars above us, the galaxies around us, even the structure of the universe itself. All of it may depend on something we cannot directly observe, and James Webb has opened a new way to study this invisible world. Because although dark matter cannot be seen, its effects can be measured. Scientists can observe how gravity bends light. They can study how galaxies move. They can examine how enormous structures formed over billions of years. And every observation points toward the same mysterious conclusion. Something unseen is shaping the universe. The discovery of dark matter changes the way we think about reality. For thousands of years, humans believed that seeing was the same as understanding. If something could not be observed, it was unknown. But the universe does not work that way. Some of the most important forces in existence may remain hidden, silent, invisible, yet powerful enough to control the movement of billions of stars, and this creates one of the biggest questions in science. What exactly is dark matter? Is it made of unknown particles? Is it something completely different from anything we have discovered? Or is our understanding of gravity itself incomplete? Scientists are still searching for the answer, but one thing is becoming clear. The universe is much larger than what our eyes can see. The darkness between the stars is not empty. It may contain the invisible framework that built everything around us. And if dark matter created the structure of the universe, then the story of creation may have started with something humanity has never actually seen. Number 5. The first stars that changed the universe forever. Before the first stars existed, the universe was almost completely dark. There were no glowing suns, no galaxies filled with brilliant light, no planets orbiting distant worlds, only a cold ocean of simple elements spread across space, mostly hydrogen. The universe had been created, but it had not yet become alive with light. Then something extraordinary happened. Gravity began gathering enormous clouds of gas together. Slowly, pressure increased, temperatures rose, and inside those ancient clouds, the first stars were born. These were not ordinary stars. They were giants, massive, powerful, and completely different from the stars we see today. Some of these first stars may have been hundreds of times heavier than our sun. They burned with incredible intensity. They lived short but violent lives, and when they died, they transformed the universe forever. Inside their cores, these ancient stars created the first heavy elements: carbon, oxygen, iron, the ingredients needed to create planets, oceans, and eventually life itself. When these stars exploded, they scattered those elements across space. The universe was no longer made only of simple gas. It had become chemically rich. It had the building blocks needed for everything that would come later. Every planet, every ocean, every living creature. The atoms inside our bodies were created through a cosmic history that began with those ancient stars. But the first stars were not only creators, they were also destroyers. Their explosions were among the most powerful events in the early universe. They changed the chemistry of space, they influenced the formation of future galaxies, and they transformed a simple universe into a complex one. Scientists believe these first stars played a crucial role in ending a period known as the Cosmic Dark Ages. Before them, the universe was filled with darkness. After them, light began spreading across space. The first stars were the beginning of the universe becoming visible, and James Webb was designed to search for their ancient fingerprints. Because the light from those stars has traveled for billions of years, it carries information from a time when the universe was completely different, a time when the first galaxies were forming, a time when the foundations of everything we know were being created. But there is still a mystery. Scientists do not fully understand how quickly these first stars appeared. They do not know exactly how massive they became, and they do not know how their existence influenced the first galaxies, because every discovery from James Webb is revealing the same pattern. The early universe was more active than expected, more violent, more complex, more mysterious. The first stars were not just lights appearing in darkness. They were the engines that transformed the universe. They created the elements. They changed the chemistry of space. They opened the way for galaxies, planets, and life. And without them, the universe would still be a simple ocean of hydrogen floating through endless darkness. The stars we see today are descendants of those ancient giants. The planets we explore, the worlds we imagine, even the atoms that make us, all carry a connection to the first generation of stars that illuminated the universe for the first time. Because before there was life, before there were planets, before there was a universe filled with color and complexity, there was a single moment when darkness met light, and the first stars were born. Number 4. The ancient galaxies that revealed the universe was creating impossible chemistry. When James Webb looked deeper into the early universe, scientists expected to find simple structures made mostly of hydrogen and helium. After all, the universe was young. The first stars had only recently appeared. The heavy elements needed to create complex cosmic systems should have taken much longer to spread across space. But James Webb discovered something unexpected. Some ancient galaxies already contained signs of complex chemistry. Elements that scientists believed required generations of stars to form were appearing much earlier than expected. This created another mystery. How did the young universe create these ingredients so quickly? Because the universe did not begin with everything needed to build planets and life. In the beginning, it was mostly made of simple elements: hydrogen, helium, a small amount of lithium. Everything else had to be created inside stars. Stars became cosmic factories. Deep inside their cores, nuclear reactions transformed simple atoms into heavier elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, the building blocks that would eventually create planets, oceans, and living organisms. But those elements needed time to spread. Massive stars had to be born. They had to live. They had to die. Their explosions had to send material across space. Then new generations of stars and planets could form. It was supposed to be a slow cosmic process, but James Webb showed that some parts of the early universe were moving much faster. Ancient galaxies were already chemically complex when scientists expected them to be simple. It was another sign that the early cosmos was not behaving the way previous models predicted. Something was accelerating the process. Something was helping the universe mature faster. And this discovery changed the way scientists viewed the first galaxies. They were not just collections of young stars. They were active environments where enormous cosmic changes were happening. Stars were being born. Stars were dying. Elements were spreading. Galaxies were transforming. The universe was creating complexity almost immediately, and the deeper scientists looked, the more they realized something important. The early universe was not an empty beginning. It was a place of extreme activity, a cosmic laboratory where the ingredients of everything we know today were being created. Every atom of iron in our blood, every piece of carbon in our bodies, every element that forms the worlds around us, all of them are connected to this ancient process. The universe had to create the ingredients before it could create anything else, and James Webb was showing us that this creation may have happened much earlier than anyone expected. But the mystery was not finished, because chemistry was only one part of the story. Another question remained: how did these ancient galaxies organize themselves into such complex systems so quickly? How did matter gather? How did stars form in such enormous numbers? And what invisible forces were controlling their evolution? The answer may lead to one of the strangest discoveries about the universe, because sometimes the most important things shaping reality are the things we cannot see. Number 3. The universe that grew up faster than scientists thought possible. For a long time, scientists imagined the early universe as a place of gradual transformation, a young cosmos slowly becoming more complex, a universe taking billions of years to build the structures we see today. But James Webb revealed a different possibility. The universe may have matured much faster than anyone expected. Ancient galaxies were already forming stars at incredible rates. Massive structures were already appearing. Powerful forces were already shaping the cosmos. It was as if the universe had skipped parts of its own childhood. This discovery changed one of the biggest ideas in astronomy, the idea that time alone controls complexity. Because according to older models, complexity requires a long process. Small structures combine, gravity gathers more material, stars appear, galaxies grow, everything happens step by step. But the early universe appeared to be doing something different. It was creating enormous structures rapidly, almost as if the cosmos had a hidden engine accelerating its evolution. Scientists began looking at the forces that could explain this. Gravity was one answer. Gravity is the invisible force that shapes everything in space. It pulls gas together, it creates stars, it holds galaxies in place. But gravity alone may not explain how quickly some ancient structures appeared. Another possibility involves dark matter, the invisible substance believed to form the hidden framework of the universe. Dark matter does not shine, it does not produce light, but its gravity appears to guide the formation of galaxies. It may have created invisible structures where normal matter gathered and eventually formed the galaxies we see today. And then there are black holes, the mysterious giants that may have existed much earlier than expected. These objects could have played a major role in shaping the first galaxies. They may have influenced how stars formed. They may have controlled the movement of gas. They may have helped transform young galaxies into the massive systems we observe today. The more scientists study the early universe, the more connected everything appears. Galaxies, stars, dark matter, black holes, all working together in a cosmic process that began billions of years ago. And James Webb has revealed that this process was far more intense than we imagined. The universe was not simply growing, it was evolving, changing, creating. The first galaxies were not silent collections of stars. They were powerful cosmic machines. They were places where matter was gathering, stars were forming, and invisible forces were shaping the future. The strange part is that we are still only seeing the beginning of the story. Every new observation creates more questions. Every answer reveals another mystery. Because the universe is not a finished book, it is a story still being written. And James Webb has allowed humanity to read pages that were hidden for billions of years, pages that reveal a universe far stranger, far more active, and far more powerful than we ever imagined. But if the universe was already this complex in its earliest moments, then the biggest mystery remains. What other secrets are still hidden in the darkness? Number 2. The hidden forces that may have built the universe before we ever knew they existed. When humans look at the universe, we naturally focus on what we can see. The stars, the planets, the glowing galaxies stretching across space. But the visible universe may only be the surface of a much deeper reality. Behind everything we observe, there are invisible forces working silently. Forces that shape galaxies, forces that control the movement of matter, forces that may have existed before the first stars ever appeared. One of the greatest mysteries in modern science is that the universe does not behave according to visible matter alone. The stars inside galaxies move as if something much larger is holding them together. Galaxies rotate faster than they should. Massive cosmic structures form in ways that visible objects cannot fully explain. Something unseen is influencing everything. Scientists believe one part of this hidden universe is dark matter, an invisible substance that does not produce light, does not reflect light, and cannot be directly observed. Yet its gravity appears everywhere. It creates an invisible framework across the cosmos, a hidden structure where galaxies are born, a cosmic skeleton that has guided the evolution of the universe for billions of years. Without dark matter, the universe may have looked completely different. The galaxies we see today may never have formed. The stars may never have gathered into enormous cosmic cities. The universe may have remained a simple ocean of scattered matter. But dark matter is not the only invisible force shaping reality. There is another mystery even larger: dark energy. Scientists discovered that the expansion of the universe is not slowing down. It is accelerating. Something is pushing space itself apart. Something is causing galaxies to move away from each other faster and faster. But scientists still do not fully understand what this force actually is. The universe is expanding. The darkness between galaxies is growing. And the force behind this expansion remains one of the biggest unanswered questions questions in physics. Together, dark matter and dark energy create a strange picture. Most of the universe is made of things we cannot directly see: the stars, the planets, the galaxies. Everything visible around us may only represent a small part of reality. The majority of the universe is hidden, invisible, unknown, and James Webb is helping scientists explore this hidden side of existence, not by seeing these forces directly, but by observing the way they shape everything around them. Every galaxy, every movement, every ancient structure. All of them contain clues about the invisible universe that created the visible one. And this leads to one of the most fascinating possibilities in modern astronomy. Maybe the universe we see is not the whole story. Maybe what we call empty space is actually filled with hidden activity. Maybe the darkness between the stars is not nothing. Maybe it is the foundation of everything. The deeper scientists look, the more they discover that reality is far stranger than human senses can understand. The universe is not only made of light, it is also made of shadows, and those shadows may have built the world we see today. Number 1. The biggest discovery of all, the universe may be completely different from the story we once believed. For centuries, humans believed that understanding the universe meant finding answers, but every major discovery has shown the opposite. The more we learn, the more mysteries appear. James Webb has changed the way we see cosmic history. It showed us galaxies that appeared too early, black holes that grew too quickly, ancient stars that transformed the universe, invisible forces controlling everything from the shadows, and all of these discoveries point toward one incredible possibility. Our understanding of the universe is still incomplete. The universe is not a simple machine following a predictable path. It is a constantly changing system, filled with hidden processes, unknown forces, and events that challenge our imagination. When scientists first studied the cosmos, they believed the early universe was a simple beginning, a place where the first structures slowly formed. But James Webb revealed something much more dramatic. The beginning was powerful. The beginning was chaotic. The beginning was full of activity. The first galaxies were not just appearing, they were evolving. The first black holes were not simply forming, they were growing. The first stars were not only shining, they were transforming the entire universe around them. Everything was connected. Every galaxy, every star, every element, every force. The universe was building itself through a process far more complex than we ever imagined. And perhaps the strangest lesson is this: the universe did not become interesting after billions of years. It was interesting from the beginning. The mysteries were always there. We simply did not have the technology to see them. James Webb did not change the universe. It changed our ability to understand it. It opened a door into a time when everything was beginning, a time hidden behind billions of years of cosmic history. And what we found behind that door was not a simple beginning. It was a universe full of surprises, a universe that was already creating wonders before Earth even existed, a universe where invisible forces shaped galaxies, where ancient stars created the ingredients of life, where darkness itself helped build the structures we see today. And the most exciting part is that this may only be the beginning. Every answer creates new questions. Every discovery reveals another mystery. There are still galaxies we have never seen, forces we do not understand, worlds hidden in the darkness, waiting for humanity to find them. Because the universe is not a finished story. It is an endless discovery, and James Webb has only opened the first pages. The deepest truth we have learned is not that the universe is simple, it is that the universe is far more mysterious, more powerful, and more beautiful than we ever imagined. For billions of years, these secrets remained hidden in the darkness. Now, for the first time, humanity is beginning to see them. And the deeper we look, the more we realize one thing: the universe was never empty. It was always waiting to be discovered.